Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, everyone, we still have some people coming on, and we'll continue to invite them into and accept them into the room. But welcome to our first live um, virtual fireside chat. My name is Nico Karagosian, and I serve as the CEO of the Marshall University Foundation. I'm coming to you live from a hotel room in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Later this evening, I am having dinner with an alum of Marshall University, but really thrilled to be with you tonight. And thank you so much for joining us. I want to first thank our guests of honor, Tony Stroud and President Brad Smith. I'll introduce them in a little bit. I do want to go off script and thank our team over at Mission Control, over in the Marshall University Student Center. They did not put this in their script, but I'm going to thank them anyway. Crystal Davis, Rebecca Stevens, and Jalen Jones. Thank you for all your work getting this wonderful evening set up and all the technology that went into having this virtual fireside chat. Just appreciate all the time and effort that went into it. Our partners in university marketing and communications, as well as our partners with MUIT, our information technology team at Marshall University. Thank you so much for all the time and energy that went into getting this going tonight. We have a wonderful program for you tonight. Incredible participation. We have over 150 people that have registered, representatives from the Marshall University Foundation Board, the Marshall University Board of Governors, the Marshall University Alumni Association Board. Thank you for joining us. We have leaders and members of our alumni chapters that are on with us tonight. About 66% of our 150 registrants are alumni. So thank you so much for joining us, and all the friends of Marshall University as well. We're grateful that you're here with us tonight. I do have some numbers. Our top 3 decades represented. The 1980s came in first with the most people represented, and then second was the 1970s. So really appreciate everybody's willingness to participate tonight. Special shout out to Glenn Ryburn, our furthest back class of 1958 from Winchester, Virginia. Glenn is 89 and joining us tonight. Glenn, thank you so much, and we're thrilled to have you with us tonight. As far as the program, I'm going to give a quick overview. I'll introduce Tony and the president. They're going to talk a little bit about a general university update, and then we'll go into the topic, the Idea District. There is a chat to the right of your screen. You are able to submit questions, comments, anything you'd like in that chat. It does go to our moderators, and then they will share any additional information or questions with me that I could share with the group. We would love for you to enter your name, class year, and where you're joining us from, and we will update that live in the chat so the entire group can see who is participating and who is with us this evening. So you can also put in questions there that, again, will be the moderators will send on to me, and then I'll be able to hopefully ask as many as possible toward the end of the program. So with that, we are going to bring Tony Stroud, our Chief Legal Officer and Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, and the 38th President of Marshall University, Brad Smith. There they are. Well done, team back in Mission Control. Thank you. That was seamless. And I'm going to hand it off to Brad, who's going to take it from here. Brad.
All right. Thank you, Nico. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Tony and I are excited to be with you today. And I'm going to do a little bit of a setup just to give you a general state of the university. And then I'm going to hand it over to Tony to talk about one of the very exciting things we're doing. But let me start first with what I think all of us who are associated with the university appreciate. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be a part of an institution that has continued to grow and advance for 189 years. We have more than 120,000 alumni, many of whom have reached the top of their chosen profession. Our academic standing has gone from that academy in 1837 to a college in 1858, a university in 1961. And in 2018, we were designated as a doctoral university with high research activity, which according to the Carnegie Foundation makes us an R2 institution. Something only 3.5% of the nation's universities have. We have a great athletics program, and wow, we've had another good season this year, whether it was softball, men's basketball, women's basketball, winning the actual NIT championship. Just our teams continue to play and compete at the highest level. But what's really neat is this university hasn't lost its soul. We continue to be student-focused and community-oriented, and we see a lot of opportunity ahead of us. Today, we're not just a university, we're an ecosystem. We currently have 13,329 students. We have 78% of those students are from the state of West Virginia. Over half of them are the first in the family to go to college, and about the same number are Pell eligible, which means they come from families below $65,000 in income, so they need some financial assistance to get through. We teach those students through 1,895 dedicated faculty and staff. We have 5 physical locations. We also have airports throughout the state that we're now teaching our aviation program. We have a lot of great partnerships, including not only the Marshall Health Network, which is an academic institution that, an academic health system that also has our residents going in and teaching and learning. But we also have the athletics program, the foundation, and the Marshall University Research Corp. So we are collectively working together to not only advance individual success, but to promote innovative ideas that build capability in our communities and to have an economic impact on our state. I think everybody knows that the world outside is unpredictable and dynamic as we speak. Higher education is at the center of this vortex. Universities across the nation right now are navigating demographic shifts. In fact, the data is very straightforward. The United States is getting older, just like all the other nations we've seen around us. In fact, the data shows that from the fall of this year to the fall of 2041, the United States will have 10% fewer 18-year-olds. West Virginia, in that same period of time, will have 26% fewer 18-year-olds. We are the 3rd hardest hit state in what they're calling the enrollment cliff, which means we have to step beyond just talking to high school students to come to college. We're leaning into military veterans, community college transfers, working adults, people who want to continue to learn throughout the rest of their life. Those are all a part of our enrollment strategy. The second thing that we're all navigating is digital. We have always had YouTube, and we've had things like Coursera and Credly. These are technology alternatives to education. But now you have ChatGPT and Anthropic and Gemini and Llama, and you go on and on and on. And it's changing how students want to learn and educators have to teach. And then the third is doubt. We all recognize that there's a lot of questions right now around the value of a 4-year college degree, especially with things like AI. And we have lost the trust as educators of the public. In fact, it used to be 92% of people in the 90s felt getting a 4-year degree would mean their children would get a better life than they had. It dropped to 56% in 2015. It's now 37% as we speak. So we have a real opportunity to re-earn that trust. And Marshall leaned into this. We're now 4 years into the journey. Marshall for all, Marshall forever. It is rooted in 3 things. We want to make sure what we're teaching is an in-demand curriculum for the 21st century, including having elements like AI built in. We want to make sure our classrooms are available on demand, not just in a physical classroom, but online, so distance learners could go to their Walmart shift or work at Chick-fil-A or live in California and still dial in and take a class. And then the third and final element is distinctive achievement. We've chosen 6 areas where we want to be distinctive. These are areas where Marshall students and Marshall faculty are already outperforming the nation. And we simply said that's where we're going to shine the light, put the resources, and show the world what we're capable of. And those are cybersecurity, healthcare in 4 areas, addiction, obesity, gerontology, and rural health. The third, advanced manufacturing. The fourth, energy. The fifth is aviation. And the sixth is entrepreneurship. And these have become our 6 pillars. They're also going to be what Tony's going to talk about in a minute when we get to one of the key elements we're doing from an economic development perspective is building out something called the Idea District. But I want to just pull up the nose of the plane to say, okay, we're 4 years into this. There's headwinds coming at us as individuals and as an educational system. How are we doing? Well, Marshall University reversed a 13-year enrollment decline, which started in 2010, and we stopped it in 2022. Because we wrote Marshall for All, Marshall Forever, and we got everybody organized, Marshall has grown its enrollment since then 22%. And that compares to the rest of the state, which has actually been flat, and the nation's only grown a low single-digit number percent. So we have actually outperformed not only the state, but also the nation. The second thing we're proud of is Marshall University now has the lowest net tuition costs. In other words, how much does it cost to get your 4-year degree at Marshall? We are the most affordable of any other college in the state of West Virginia, any of the other peer institutions in the 16 states in the Southeast, and we're also the most affordable of all the other Carnegie R2 research institutions in the nation, of which there are 110. So we are now the least expensive. And then the third question may be, okay, does that make us cheap? Well, the government now requires all education systems to measure how much their graduates make the 2 years after they graduate. And then they have to divide that by the total cost of their degree over 4, 5, or 6 years. If that salary they make is more than the total cost, the ratio is above a 1, which means it's a positive return on investment. If it is less than 1, it means they come out in the hole and it's taken them a while to make their money back. Marshall's current return on investment is a 1.47, and the national average is 0.85. So we are growing enrollment. We've kept the price down, growing students, not fees, and we have the highest return on investment. We have a lot of progress, and I will finish with this and hand it to Tony. The last 4 weeks have reminded us and everyone on this campus why this place is special. 3 weeks ago, we had commencement. We had 1,588 students walk across the platform to get their diploma. 52% of them were first in their family to graduate college, and their families were cheering as if they were at an athletic event. And the oldest of our graduates 3 weeks ago was 79 years old, a military veteran who came back to get a master's in humanities. And the youngest, we had 7 who graduated with their degree at 19, because we've begun to teach Marshall classes in the high schools called dual credit. And when they showed up, they only had X number of credits needed to get their degree. So they were able to get it without coming out with any debt. So we have success continuing, and we're impacting. That's Marshall for all, Marshall forever. 19-year-olds to 79, and everyone was excited to be there. The second thing I'll tell you was last week. Marshall has an unbelievable alumni base and a community that loves it. Every single college hopes for a town and gown relationship. Ours was forged in fire in 1970. But we rose from that tragedy, we embraced each other, and we are stronger. And last week we had our 5th annual Community Cares, where we invite the campus community to come in and help us paint dorms, plant trees, lay mulch, move rock. And we had 990 volunteers put 3,455 service hours. We moved 7 tons of rock. We planted 450 trees and flowers. I don't know how much mulch you spread.
A lot.
But it saves,
in the rain.
it saves the university about $500,000 a year, and we continue to win the most beautiful campus in the state every year because of you. So I know I covered a lot of turf, but I hope what you got out of that is that we have a very proud 189-year track record of success. There are headwinds that are facing higher education. We wrote a plan together that is producing results, growing enrollment, keeping tuition down, and producing a high return on investment. We have 6 areas of distinctive excellence that we're leaning into, and we are now building out economic impact. And one of those ideas is the Idea District, and I will let Tony walk you through how that is born out of the Marshall for All strategy.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And like you, I am honored and humbled and beyond my expectations to be able to serve with you and this at this university. It's been so special to me. You know, we are both first in our families to graduate, and I would not be where I am but for Marshall University. So to have the opportunity to come back here and work with this administration, work with President Smith and give back has been the pleasure and honor of my lifetime. And you know, as the president said, when we came in, we developed our Marshall for All, Marshall Forever plan. You know, and part of that was to promote, you know, we wanted to build a prosperity platform where we promote individual success. We want to be innovative and economic development. I'm going to focus on the economic development side, which is exactly what the Idea District represents to a large extent. Right now, for every dollar that comes into this university, we have an 18x return. And our goal by 2037 is to increase that to 30x, which will be $2.3 billion we put into this economy. So part of this, we decided to develop this district, and the president, give him credit for the name. We were struggling with a name and hired a consultant. And I'm sitting in his office one day and he said, why do we not just call it the Idea District? Impossible doesn't exist anymore. You know, one of the things we suffered with in West Virginia, we have not done a great job of telling our story, and we've been too hesitant to show all the great things that we have. And too many times in the past, I've seen us say we can't do something. Well, that mentality is gone. And what we are creating here is a transformation. And we have such a close town and gown relationship, as most of you know, with the city of Huntington. And we wanted to create a gateway between our campus and downtown Huntington. And that's where the idea was hatched for the Idea District. And the initial phase of this is a $250 million, probably up to $300 million now. You can see a plan. This was an initial rendering. This has changed somewhat. But we started developing this district back in 2021. And the first phase of that was the building number 3 there. And I hope many of you got to see the College of Business building. It is a spectacular facility. We went out to Silicon Valley when the president was there at Intuit and studied buildings there and created something that our students would want. You know, facilities matter. And when students are now, when we're recruiting, they look at your facilities. And this facility is designed as such that it has a community space, academic space, and student space. And the community space has been so well used. We have the forum in the entryway. We have the Encova Auditorium. We have the boardroom on the 3rd floor. The community is really engaged and really using this facility a lot. So that was the first phase of the Idea District. Phase 2, thanks to a $45 million appropriation from the state of West Virginia, is our new cybersecurity building. And this is going to be a statement piece here in the city of Huntington, West Virginia. Nico, or who's ever controlling the slides, you'll get to the next slide. This is actually what our Cybersecurity Institute is going to look like. It is well under construction. We are on schedule, actually ahead of schedule, for an August 2027 opening. This is going to have 73,000 square feet of space, 13 different labs. We have a private industry partner. It's taking the 4th floor, which is Alpha Innovations. We have a restaurant on the bottom floor. Many of you may be familiar with the Hagies and La Familia. La Familia, they're putting an Italian eatery on the bottom floor, which will also sell Italian imported products. In the 3rd floor, we also have some industry space. We're working with 2 or 3 companies right now, trying to find a tenant for that space, and we got some very good prospects. The exciting part about Alpha Innovations being on the 4th floor is they also will have a data center here close to the district. In addition to that, we had a generous benefactor donate 2 strands of fiber to us that run between Ashburn, Virginia, and Columbus, Ohio, which is, I call it the superhighway. This gives us access to 100 gigabytes of data speed, and they're going to light that up for us and give us the most powerful internet speed here in this area that we'll be able to use and utilize for others in the area. So we're very excited about this building. Some other great things happening currently within the Innovation District is, any of you familiar with the downtown Huntington and 4th Avenue? There was a building we call the Lattice Building, was there for a number of years. We have acquired that. It is being renovated now. Intuit is occupying the 2nd floor of that as part of the Prosperity Platform and the partnership we have with him. With our students, they will employ a couple of hundred, up to 250 ultimately when we get up to full speed of our students will be assisting with the TurboTax platform of Intuit. The bottom floor of that building, we are leased out to the Chamber of Commerce here, the local chamber. LG is taking space. Our local economic development entity, HADCO, is taking space in that building. And our I-Center will have some co-working space in there, and we'll use that for their services as well as we continue to try to teach and promote design thinking throughout the Huntington area in this region and here at the university. We are very close to having the mass available to start construction of a new facility. It will be an 80,000 square foot facility, which will also be within this district. This is going to be our med technology space. We have a partnership with 3 or 4 different AI-based companies. One is based on radiographic imaging, one on fracture detection, one on mobile services. As we're trying to improve the healthcare outcomes and make healthcare more available and more economical for Southern West Virginia and rural areas. And then finally, we're looking at we have partnered with a hotel developer who is eagerly wanting to put a graduate hotel within the district. We're trying to acquire some property in the district to allow that to happen. And what we're seeing happen here is exactly what we wanted. While we're trying to develop this 2-block district, other private entities are coming in and developing and trying to acquire more property in space. Thrasher Engineering, who's been a longtime partner of the university, has also purchased some property and located their offices in this building. So many of the pillars that the president mentioned are well represented within this district, that being the healthcare piece, the advanced manufacturing, the cyber security building. We're also going to move within, many of you may know, within our advanced manufacturing, we have a maker space where we help entrepreneurs design their widgets and develop prototypes for those. This will be housed within the IDEA district. So we're hoping to have some great space here so people can walk by and see these 3D printers in action like you see the taffy at Myrtle Beach. So we're very excited about what this is going to do to the economy. We are actually transforming what we think is Huntington, West Virginia is going to be in the future. And the great part about it is the city of Huntington is on board with this plan. Our local economic development, HADCO is on board with this plan. So everyone here is rowing the oar in the same direction. And so the IDEA district is going, we want it to be 80% complete by 2029. And we're well on our way to do that. And we're very excited about what this is going to do. You've probably heard the president say, we do not want someone to leave this area because they do not have the opportunity. And we're creating opportunities for our students to stay right here in Huntington, West Virginia, and help grow this economy and help grow this region.
Yes, thank you, Tony. And I'll put a bow around it, and then we'll take questions from Nico and the group. First of all, Tony is amazing. He and his team have been incredible. They are the catalysts that are not only moving Huntington and the campus forward, but are also moving everyone across the state forward. And it's showing up across all those pillars. But the IDEA district, we actually borrowed from others. We saw what Mitch Daniels at Purdue University had built. We saw what Ohio State had done in Columbus, Ohio. We saw what happened around the Stanford campus. And candidly, in San Antonio, Texas, where the University of Texas and San Antonio built their cybersecurity facility, they had 60 companies located around it to tap into the students, the labs, and the faculty and research. So we're starting to see this flywheel kick in. And when we started this journey, we were getting a $14 return on every dollar the state invested in Marshall in 2022. It's now an $18 return. And our goal, as Tony said, is to make it $30 by 2037. So Marshall for All, Marshall Forever is not just an easy phrase to repeat. It is truly accelerating individual success and enrollment growth with low tuition and high return on investment. And our goal, as you know, is to have every student graduate with no debt and a job by 2037. We are actually advancing innovative ideas. We now have $70 million of research, up from $36 million just 4 years ago. Our goal is to make it $150 million and to increase the number of jobs in our community and the state by 3x. And we want to have the economic impact Tony described. And that's where the IDEA district and all the things that are happening around this campus and this community are coming together. So it's a privilege. It's a pleasure. We are the class of '86. So is Bill No, who leads the aviation program, and many others. So that '80s group that just came in, we were classmates with you. We just weren't the smart ones. So we appreciate you. And with that, Nico, we'll be happy to take questions and open it up.
Okay, thank you both very much. Appreciate that. We do have some questions here that have been coming in, and I'll start with one for you, Tony. How will parking, walkability, green space, and recreation be addressed as the district develops?
That's a priority for us, Nico, and thanks for that question. Parking is always a challenge, particularly in an area like downtown Huntington, and we've looked at a parking garage structure, which is very difficult to fund those, and they're very costly. So we're looking at more of a surface parking. The developer we're working with is trying to acquire some parcels so that we can have some surface parking available. In recreation, we want this to be a place where people want to come and have fun and hang out. So there'll be a lot. The new building we're building with the 80,000 square foot, the bottom floor will be all recreational, retail, restaurants, space. And there's going to be some amount of green space here so people can come and hang out and hopefully have areas ultimately where there can be some concerts and some outdoor activities that people can enjoy in the summertime.
Great, thank you. This one is for President Smith. Brad, how will the project balance Huntington's historic character with growth, innovation, and modernization?
Yeah, it's a great question, Nico. And I would tell you that the answer is in a very collaborative way. We were in 2023 required as a university to update our 10-year campus master plan, which is our physical footprint. And we did something different. We did it in conjunction with the mayors and all the communities that we serve. We also did it with the entire campus, and we did it with industry. And that's when we chose to make the Idea District a 2-block stretch going down to the College of Business connecting to Old Main. We decided 3rd Avenue would be where all our athletics facilities were going to be. So we sold the old plot of land where the baseball field was going to go and put it over by the softball field. And then we decided we're going to go down Hal Greer Boulevard to what used to be Cabell Huntington Hospital, now the Marshall Health Network. And we're going to put all of our health sciences up that. So that's Health Sciences Corridor. We did that in a collaborative way. Tony is now the CEO of HADCO, the Huntington
Area Development Council,
Yes.
Council.
So the city has said we want to move this economic development, housing development back over under Marshall. So as Tony and the team are working on this economic development, we now have a very symbiotic relationship with them. And then the question is the character of old and new, and the answer is both can exist. I will say to you that these new buildings are designed to be iconic pieces that attract the next generation to stay here. But we're also blending them with some of the older buildings that are sitting there that we're refurbing from the inside. And that way we're going to have a very unique Huntington that I think is going to be attractive and recognizable to those that were here, as well as those that want to stay here.
Great. Thank you. Just received this one is for you, Tony. What is the funding model for the Idea District, and how will phased development be supported over time?
Good question. So we have a significant appropriation from the state of West Virginia. As I mentioned, the cybersecurity building was funded by the state of West Virginia. The College of Business was by a generous gift of Brad and Lee Smith, before the president became the president here. So that was funded, that, and through some bond refinancing we did. The next building will be totally funded by a private developer, as will the hotel. The building I mentioned that was being renovated for Intuit and the other entities is also owned by private developers. So right now we're looking at private funding outside of the state and outside of the university to fund the district at this point.
And I'll just add one quick thing, Nico. I know everyone has been tracking, or hopefully has been tracking, that all of higher education is trying to work its way through structural deficits where their revenues went down as a result of COVID and enrollment declines, and their expenses maintained where they were. And they were in a hole, and we've been digging out of that hole ourselves. From 2022, we were at 28 million. We've got it down to this year, roughly 2.9, and we'll be back to cash flow positive as we go out of 27 into 28. So when we put this together, we know it was a big dream, and everyone said, "How are you going to do that? You don't have the money yet to do this." And our answer is, we're going to have somebody else pay for it. And we did it because if you give people value, create jobs, create vibrancy, get the restaurants going, the state sees that this is a big opportunity for them. And so people have leaned in. So people believe, they're seeing it happen, and they're getting the return on their investment. But Marshall's not paying for those things. Marshall's bringing the expertise, the students, the faculty, and the commitment to make it successful.
Thank you. Thank you both. Tony, we'll actually stay with you. Can you elaborate on the purpose of the Innovation Resource Hub?
Yeah, of course. So this falls under entrepreneurship pillar, and this is the entity that helps to train our entrepreneurs and help with design thinking training across the campus and throughout the community. They've done a number of trainings for private entities now. Partnered with a company named G Beta to help with some startups, and the Innovation Resource will help provide those resources to help entrepreneurs start their business, grow their business, and get to that next stage. We want to become the startup state, as Israel was a startup nation. One of the goals the president mentioned, we want to be the startup state where people come to start businesses here, and Marshall wants to be the catalyst to help make that happen.
And Tony, as a follow-up, you touched on the hotel a little bit, but this question just came through. Can you talk a little bit more about Marshall University in Huntington and the investigation into a graduate hotel?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I can't give a lot of information, but I can tell you we have a local developer who is in the hotel industry already, and they have already gone through the approval process and have renderings drawn. Right now, it is a matter of being able to acquire the property necessary to build the hotel. We're excited about this. Some of you may know the Graduate Hotel chain was acquired by Hilton recently. It was 147, a very small boutique hotel. They're trying to expand the brand. And, we'd be so excited to have a green theme Marshall University Go Herd Graduate Hotel right here on 4th Avenue.
That's incredibly exciting. Thank you for that detail. And then this one I think is for both of you. talk a little bit about what success looks like for the Idea District 10 years from now, not just for Marshall, but for the Huntington community.
Would you like to go first? Or
You,
want me
you
to?
can go first. I'll be retired by then. So.
As if I won't. We're born the same year. It reminds me.
No, you're older.
I'm 7 months older than him. So it goes back to those 2037 goals that we set for ourselves when we started Marshall for All, Marshall Forever. And it includes increasing the number of jobs so that students no longer have to leave to pursue a career. They can make the choice to leave, but we'll leave the door open and the light on, as I say in the Motel 8 commercials, we'll leave the light on for you. But we want to see downtown Huntington vibrant as it was when we were here. We want to see 3rd Avenue continue to be vibrant as it has been with the super block and the amazing work that those who came before us worked on. We want 4th Avenue revitalized. The Keith Albie's been completely refurbished. We've now built these 2 blocks out. By 2028, 2029, we'll have it 80% completed. Hopefully things are going to happen up and down 4th Avenue. And then what I hope you see is you're going to see industry locating here around these 6 pillars. You're going to see students deciding to stay and not have to leave for a job. You're going to see amazing research coming out of this university that the rest of the nation is going to want to come and learn from. You're going to see population increase, not decrease in the city of Huntington. And you're going to see benefit for everyone who's surrounding this university. We are truly committed to strengthening our community and giving back the way they've taken care of us for 189 years. I'll wrap with this. Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan once said before he passed away, he was a senator in New York. They said, how do you build a great city? His answer was, you build a great university and wait 200 years. So we teased the mayor, we're just a few years away, 11 years away from the 200th anniversary, and then it'll be a great city. But we kid, Huntington is amazing. It's a great city to be a part of. It's the Jewel City. We just refer to it as the Emerald City because we like green.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brad. And thank you both. Really appreciate your willingness to join us today, willingness to answer those questions as they came in live, and just appreciate everything that you both bring to Marshall University. And we're very fortunate to have you both leading us and taking us into this next stage of our growth as a university and as a community. So thank you again.
Thank you. God bless and go Herd.
Okay. So as a reminder, we will have thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And again, Crystal, Rebecca, Jalen, back in Huntington, thank you so much for making this a seamless effort and presentation tonight. We will be having another one of these virtual fireside chats. This will take place. We should have a screen popping up here soon with a QR code. There it is, on Thursday, June 11th. So we would encourage, same time, 4:30 to 5:15. President Smith is going to join us again, as is our Vice President of Enrollment and our Chief Enrollment Officer, Jerry Ross, who will provide insider updates about our enrollment management efforts. President touched on the growth here and since 2022, and Jerry will dive into some more details on that. So you can register by clicking on that QR code, and I would love to have you join us again. That's Thursday, June 11th, same time, 4:30. We will start with that virtual fireside chat. Please take the survey that you will receive. Let us know how we can make this experience better. Is there a topic that you'd like us to talk about? We plan on doing these throughout the year, so we'd love to hear from you as to what you want to learn more about and the things that are happening here at Marshall. And if I could leave you with a couple possible next steps, please let a friend know about this event. Have them join us on June 11th. The recording is going to be available as well. Feel free to forward that on to anybody who's interested. And just appreciate everything you all do. Thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. It's wonderful to see so many people participating. Appreciate everything you do for Marshall, everything you do for Huntington and Herd Nation all over the country. Have a great evening, everyone. Be safe and go Herd.